Is Ontario MBC now in a buyer's market? Kind of, depending on property type, but definitely in a balanced market, pushing towards a buyer's market. The Canadian Real Estate Association, also known as TRREB, put out their October numbers. Now, what we have to keep in mind with these numbers is that they're comparing to last October, 2022. Last October was not a great month for Canadian real estate, and neither was this October, at least in sales volume. When this report came out, CTV reached out to me and they asked me to come on the news and discuss it live. And I did that. And I want to share that interview with you. It's not an ideal market for sellers right now. There is more inventory than it's been before. And, I don't expect price growth, at least for the end of 2023. It's going to be balanced out or slightly moving down depending on the asset class. That's why we always talk about in our videos, do not buy real estate unless you're going to own it for a minimum of 5 years. Here's the interview. I hope you enjoy. If you learn anything new in today's video, all I ask is leave this video a like and subscribe to the channel. Enjoy the interview.
Tom, thanks for your time tonight. So we know why buyers aren't buying. Are sellers holding off because they see other listings, for example, are just sitting?
That's the thing too, is that a lot of sellers right now, they're saying, should I go to the market right now? Are watching everything else in the neighborhood kind of sit there, right? And they're going like, well, maybe I'll wait if it gets better in the spring. And that's the conversation we're having with a lot of people right now. But the question is, well, will it get better in the spring in 2024? And one of two things needs to happen. Either the active amount of inventory in that area has to come down for the homes for sale, or you're going to have to see rate cuts. Now, a lot of economists are kind of pricing in maybe Q2 2024, that first 25 point going down, but that's really anybody's guess.
Okay, so the homes that are sitting, is it luxury homes? Is it condos? Is it across the board? Is it in certain pockets? What are you seeing?
It's everything, but it's actually mostly in the condo sector. And the main reason why is if you look at the active condos for sale, specifically in my market in Toronto at least, about 75% of active condo listings on the market are either tenanted or vacant. And that would suggest to me that those are investors selling those properties because of the pressure of interest rates. When interest rates started going up in March of 2022, we all kind of thought, when are we going to see the real impact on this? And it's been over 18 months now. I think now you're seeing that impact, that people that were holding on are going, you know what? It's time to sell this. And you're seeing that inventory build up. We saw most markets in Canada actually have a strong start to 2023, which was surprising with the interest rates. That was just because the inventory was low. Now you got high interest rates and high inventory. And that's why I think the rest of 2023 is going to kind of stay where it is or slowly dip down depending on the asset class.
So Tom, besides interest rates, is there anything else feeding into the settling down, I'll say, of the market?
I would say that a lot of sellers just haven't come to the conclusion that they're priced wrong. I think that really is what it is. You look at the active listings available in most markets across Canada, and there is all the homes for sale, and then there's what we would call actual saleable inventory. The new listings I've seen in the last 30 days, a lot of those sellers are more realistic, but the listings sitting on the market for a while are kind of just sitting there and nothing's changing. When we get to later in the year, maybe about December 15th, that's typically when people take the properties off the market, to then wait till spring next year. We'll have to see if that actually makes any real dent in the inventory.
Okay, so when you say what is sitting and people aren't sort of pricing correctly, can you expand on that? Are people just pricing too high because they think they're in a market that has already passed?
Yeah, I would call it the transition zone. When that happens, it's usually a 4-month period where buyers and sellers don't really understand what the true pricing of properties is. And the reason why is because there's not enough sales volume to actually look at and go, okay, now I can see what's going on. I think we're getting to the end of that transition zone. A lot of the sellers I'm meeting with are fully aware of what's going on, but it was the sellers that listed maybe in the summer that are still on the market. We're looking at early year pricing. That's gone, and that's not coming back this year.
Okay, so the ones who did have their homes for sale earlier, are they beginning to revise down? Are you seeing a trend that way?
Yes, a lot of them are taking them off the market and relisting at lower prices, which is making a difference. But still right now, like percentage wise, depending on the type of property you own, maybe 20%, 25% of active listings every month are actually going to find a buyer. So 75% of homes in most marketplaces are sitting. If you want to be in that 25%, you obviously have to look really good, and obviously staging makes a difference, but pricing is the #1 factor.
Wow. So let's have a look at the numbers again. Almost 34,000 homes sold in October. The average price, 656,000, 656.6, which is up. So why is the price still rising given the climate we're in?
Well, that's comparing it to last year at the same time. Last year at this time, it wasn't necessarily a great market either. So we're comparing not a great market to not a great market. And that's why it looks like, okay, house prices are up, but they're up to a point in time where things weren't very much a blockbuster month.
Okay. Are there certain markets, corners, urban centers that are still doing well?
Yeah, if you look at, we would call it like entry level freehold housing, and I know that's like a subjective term, but it's getting into housing that doesn't have a maintenance fee. In certain pockets with low inventory, those houses are still going in multiple offers because there's just nothing to choose from. That's what everyone wants to trade up to. It is a reasonable market to trade up because the house you're buying hopefully will have come down percentage wise more than the property you're selling. But it's really just freehold properties in a good price point. Condo market's completely different.
Tom Storey, great to have you on this, sir. Thanks for your time tonight.
Thank you so much for having me.